But my goodness, right now, the story of the day outside of James Harden was the rankings in the latest college football poll. And the top four didn't change. Alabama 1, Notre Dame 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4. All of them are undefeated except Clemson, which lost its game to Notre Dame without Trevor Lawrence, their top quarterback, who was out with COVID. The big story, though, and the big hubbub is about Florida, which lost to LSU on a kind of a bizarre situation. What was it exactly, Rob G? What was the violation that
they threw a shoe?
Did? Yeah, threw a shoe on the field. And then that was a penalty, obviously.
It had to be. It was a LeBron. It couldn't have been a pair of Jordans. It must have been. Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll get to that later, actually.
Okay.
But LSU, which has had a horrible year, was able to capitalize on the penalty and kick a field goal, the game-winning field goal. And LSU, I believe, was 3-5, and they gave Florida their second loss. But Florida only dropped from, number 6 to number 7. And people are in an uproar. Cincinnati, which is undefeated, having a great season, is number 9. And some people are in a tizzy. What do you think about this, Rob?
Well, not only that, Tim Brando, who does college football for Fox.
Good guy.
He said he's done with the committee. I mean, that says a lot. Here's a, this guy was the original game day host, Chris, on ESPN. This is how long Brando has been on doing college football, and he was disgusted by it. Like, this is not. Basically, I don't want to misspeak for him, but he was saying how this is just fraudulent. It's like,
Rob G, see if you can call him.
Rob G, try to find it. It was really strong. And for a guy who's a part of the college fabric, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Because that could have impacted him.
Right. That's so, but he cares about it. And he just was the same thing you mentioned about Cincinnati getting jobbed, and I think it has turned out to be what we knew it would be, Chris. This is about the 5 power conferences, and they want their schools to be in this playoff for the most part. They'll do by hook, by crook. The
top 4. Yep.
Right.
Because what this does, to explain it before you go on, Rob, if Florida upsets Alabama in the SEC championship game, it opens the door, the possibility for Florida to get into the playoff. And that's what a lot of people are upset about. Like, you got 2 losses. You shouldn't be there. I'm sorry. But they're still alive. Iowa State's got 2 losses. Georgia's got 2 losses, and they're all in the top 8. So those teams are still alive. Rob G, you got Brando's tweet.
Yeah, it wasn't just one tweet either. It was like a rant that he went on.
But am I right, Rob G? Like, this is a guy who's a college football guy,
legend.
Who just goes off on the committee. Go ahead.
One of the most well-respected voices in all of college football.
Yes.
Now he works for Fox. Here's what he said. Truth, the college football playoff is flat out wrong, all caps, and I'll no longer recognize it as a playoff. I'm done with it. Eye test is code for pure playoff privilege. It is not a college football playoff. It's a Power 5 invitational. And from this point forward, I'm going to call it that. Cincinnati got dissed beyond belief. It's a farce filled with Power 5 corruption. I repeat, I'll never utter the words college football playoff again. Not until all of college football gets to take part. It's exclusionary. Again, all caps. Until they expand, it's simply the Power 5 invitational, period.
Well, he's on TV talking about it too, so he's going to apparently go on TV and not refer to it as the playoffs.
That's
he's
something.
Call it
That's what I'm saying, Chris. This is, and everybody knows college football's always been about the bigger schools, and in the old days, the bowl thing, Chris, was who travels well. Like when they were trying to make up, like schools that don't travel well, they didn't want to invite to the bowl games because they want to sell tickets. And you got to get people to show up and take time off to go to these bowl games, right, and all that. So schools that travel well always got a nod over non-traveling schools. But But for Brando to have his panties in a bunch over this tells you that. Are you surprised? You're not really surprised that the Power Five are looking out for their schools.
No, and I think Brando's right on the money. And Rob, here's my solution. And I've been saying this for a long time, and people get upset, and I don't even know if you agree with me or not. The answer to this is a legitimate playoff. A 4-team playoff is not a playoff when you don't play the same schedule. You don't even play close to the same schedules. So we don't know. Look, Cincinnati is 8-0, and they're ranked 9th in the country. Now, there's no reason for me to believe, Rob, that Cincinnati is one of the best 4 teams in the country. I get it. They're 8-0. So what? They don't play an SEC schedule. They don't even play a Big Ten schedule. They don't play an ACC schedule. Now, maybe this year is an aberration and they've got a spectacular team. But I can't, I'm not going to go with that because I don't know based on the history, based on the recruiting. We all know the other conferences get better players than Cincinnati for the most part. So there's no reason for me to believe that they're a top 4 team. I don't care if they're undefeated. And I'm not trying to disrespect Cincinnati or defend the committee. What I am saying, though, is the only way to solve this is if you have something like a 16, 20, 24 team playoff, whatever you want to make it. Because the Division I AA, the FCS, they have a 24 team playoff. How in the world can they manage it, but the FBS can't? What's the difference? They're going to school just like the FBS students. They play regular season schedules just like the FBS students. Rob, the only way to deal with this is, let's say, a 24, 25 team playoff, and then win a Cincinnati, win a Boise State, win a Coastal Carolina, or one of these non-traditional schools really has a great team. It'll show. And they'll either go deep in the playoffs or they'll win the whole thing. But that is the only way to solve this. This is only a tad better than the mythical championship. I'll give you that it's better, but it's only slightly better.
I think it's better than people sitting in a room deciding who's the best team without them playing somebody.
It's better, but I think it's only slightly better.
I think the mythical was always a joke to me, that it was some guys in a room with cigars figuring out and saying who was better and all that. But I think I don't know about the 24 team playoff and all that. I don't think they have any interest. And football is totally different. They don't have enough time to play 6,
They do it at every other level. Every single other level.
No, I know, but to play all these
Why can't they do it?
To play all these games, and then the other thing is,
why can they do it in FCS, but they can't do it in FBS? What's the difference?
It's the same reason that they canceled Division 2 and 3 football this year and didn't play. I mean,
what is that reason?
Because they look at it differently and they want to control. They don't want an upset. They don't want Alabama losing to some school and not get to the championship game. Or I know, Chris, you would say Alabama's not going to lose and they have this and they're better or whatever. But this is what happens, is that they only want to play ball with the big schools, and they don't really want to cut in the smaller schools. Look at the March Madness. We're still waiting for a what they call mid-major to win a championship.
Yeah,
still.
but they
haven't
go deep, and they shouldn't, because they're not as good. I mean, but that every once in maybe one, I think one may win it because now the best players, freshman, sophomore age, are going to the pros. So now you got a chance for a mid-major. But they get a chance, Rob. It's not like they don't get a legitimate chance to win a championship. They just haven't been good enough.
Yeah, I just think I don't see football giving up their blue bloods, the schools that are, the college football, which when you think about college football, those are the schools they want to be involved in this. And I don't think it's fair, Chris.
But those teams change. I mean, Alabama had a down period. Notre Dame has had mostly a down period for the last few decades.
Yeah, but those are still the blue bloods that they want to work in there if those teams are good enough.
Michigan is down. I mean, I get what you're saying, and obviously, at the end of the day, you're saying it's about money. And what I'm saying is about money. What's fair, I agree with you, but it shouldn't be just about that. And you would make money. You would make buku money off of a playoff, and you could make the bowl games the playoff, just like they do now with the 4 teams. You could do that with the 24 teams. You could make these playoff games bowl games. And you're right. Every now and then, one of the top clubs would get upset. But I don't think that would diminish the playoff. And I just think the point of competition, athletic competition, is to find out to the best of your ability who is the best team. And I don't think we find that out now because, I mean, heck, maybe Cincinnati is one of the top 3 teams in the nation this year. But there's no reason to believe it because of the history and all that. But at least let's give them a shot to prove it. And we're not giving them a shot right now.